Today's class is in continuation with the previous class where we studied about the adipose tissue, the areolar tissue, the tendon and the ligament. Today we will study about the skeletal tissue. The skeletal tissue forms the supportive connective tissue. It is also known as supportive connective tissue. The matrix of the skeletal tissue is rigid and the living cells are scattered in space-filled cavity that is known as lacunae. The skeletal tissue, it provides support to the body. It forms the endoskeleton. The skeletal tissue is of two types. It comprises of, first is cartilage and bone. Here I have drawn a diagram. The T is of cartilage. The cells of the matrix of cartilage is rigid. It is rigid also and flexible also. The living cells, that is the living cells are known as chondrocytes and the living cells are scattered in the lacunae. Lacunae is the fluid-filled space which is known as lacunae. The cartilage forms the endoskeleton of the body. If you see the diagram, you can see the blood vessels here. Blood vessel is restricted only to the outer covering of the cartilage which is known as perichondrium. So the outer covering is known as perichondrium. Now you see these cells, these are the lacunae. These cells are known as lacunae. It is more and dense near the periphery, that is near the boundary. The cells of the lacunae near the periphery is small, but when we go to the interior, towards the interior the cells are larger and less in number. These are the lacunae cells are larger and less in number. In the same way, the cells of the chondrocyte, they are smaller. These cells are smaller and less near the periphery. But when we go towards the interior, the chondrocyte cells, they become larger and less in number. Now let us see the location of the cartilage. Location of the cartilage. Cartilage is found. It is found in the endoskeleton of the body and externally we find it in the ear pinna. The ear pinna, that is this external ear, is made up of cartilage. Because it is made up of cartilage, teachers and your parents can hold your ears. It is also found in the nasal septum. Then it is found in the bronchi and the rings of trachea. Cartilage is also found in the intervertebral disc and also on the tips of several bones. The bones have got a covering of cartilage. Then it is found in certain internal organs also. You have heard about bony fish and cartilaginous fish. Example of cartilaginous fish is shark. The endoskeleton of shark, in fact the total body of shark is made up of cartilage. Now let us see the functions of cartilage. Cartilage, if we see the functions, cartilage supports and protects the bones and certain internal organs. The cartilage also prevents, you can say it prevents the frictional wear and tear. Frictional wear and tear of bones cartilage is present on the tips of several bones. So it prevents the frictional rubbing, wear and tear and damage of the bones. It helps in articulating, that is in the circular movement of certain bones. Cartilage also works like a cushion in the intervertebral disc. It prevents the damage of the disc, it prevents the wear and tear of the disc and helps in the movement of the backbone, that is the bending and stretching of the backbone. Now let us study about the bone. The bone is the solid, strong, not flexible and the toughest skeletal system. It is one of the toughest tissue that is found in the body. It forms a framework. The bone forms a framework of the body. It forms a frame of the body. The bone consists of the matrix, which is solid, but it has got liquid filled lacunae in which the bone cells or the osteocytes are scattered. The matrix of the bone, which is quite solid and tough, is made up of nearly 60 to 70%. 60 to 70% of mineral deposition. This is made up of minerals. Mineral deposition. The main minerals consist of calcium, carbonates, of magnesium and calcium, and also consist of phosphates. In fact, the hardness of the bone depends on the deposition of these minerals. Now let us see the diagram. This is the transverse section of bone, TS of bone. You see this Haversian canal, the osteocytes. Osteocytes are the cells of the bone. The osteocytes are present surrounding the Haversian canal. This Haversian canal is actually the liquid, the nutrient filled canal which gives nutrient to the cells of the bones. You can see the concentric ring-like structure. The concentric ring-like structures, these are known as concentric lamellae. On this concentric lamellae, the osteocytes or the bone cells are present. It surrounds the nutrient-filled Haversian canal. Now, if you see the cavity, some of the bones have cavity which has got the bone marrow. Bone marrow is the site of manufacture of erythrocytes, that is the red blood cells. Now, one more characteristic of the bone is it has got blood vessels and the nerves passing through the interior of the bone. It is not present in cartilage. If you see the structure of cartilage, in cartilage, the blood vessels are present only in the outer covering. But in the bone, the blood vessels and the nerves are present till the interior of the bones. Now these are the cavities. These cavities are the bone marrow cavities. It fills the bone, and inside the bone marrow, the manufacture or the synthesis of red blood cells take place. The end portion of the bone is known as endosteum. Now let us see the function of the bone. Location: bone is found all over the body. It forms a framework of the body. So bone forms the endoskeleton of the body. Forms the endoskeleton of the body. It forms a framework. Forms the framework, frame of the body, that is structure of the body. It helps in movement, important work is protection. It protects the internal organ. All the internal delicate organs are placed inside the structure, that is the cage of the bone. So externally the bone protects the internal organs. So protection is also one of the main function of the bone. Protection. Bone is the site, the bone marrow is the site of synthesis of erythrocytes, that is the red blood cells. Manufacture of red blood cells takes place in the bone marrow. It also functions as a reservoir of minerals. You see, our bones are made up of phosphates, carbonates of calcium and magnesium. So it is a huge deposition of minerals. So in this class, we have learned about the skeletal tissue, which comprises of the bone and cartilage. We have seen the structure of cartilage. We have also seen the structure of the bone. Now you can give the difference between bone and cartilage along with the diagram.